A lot of people say that digital marketing is a data-driven exercise. But unfortunately, a lot of people today, when they are creating campaign, they are running it based on pure luck and instinct. They set their target based on their gut feel of who they believe their customers is. They choose channel like Facebook, Google, Instagram based on what their personal sentiment are. So in order to counter that luck-driven exercise and to make campaign planning a really data-driven exercise, marketers need to do proper research and proper planning. In the research and planning phase, a marketer would actually accumulate data about the audiences, analyzes the channel in order to come up with the optimum channel mix, budget split, and targeting. Unfortunately, today, most of the solution is either choosing one or the other route. Either they try to simplify campaign creation so much that the effectiveness is sacrificed, or when they want to drive effectiveness, they make it really complicated for normal layman users like you and myself to use. Facebook, for example, when you are buying a Facebook promoted post, look how easy is it to set up the campaign. You just click on a boost post, automatically you choose, okay, you want to target people who live around your area or people who like your page, and how much you would like to spend per day. And in return, Facebook gives you an estimate how many people would be reached throughout this campaign. Now, this is obviously very simple, but what this does is this simplicity is achieved by sacrificing effectiveness. You can't optimize a Facebook boost post campaign to achieve sales. At the end of this campaign, you are not any wiser to determine, hey, who are the type of people who will buy? What are the type of people, what are the type of journey they will go through before they buy? You end up learning nothing about what matters most for your business, which is sales. Now, again, this is simplification at the price of effectiveness. A proper audience research is very complicated. Before I can even begin, I need to check in my web analytic or app analytic and try to understand what are the profile of the customers who would buy versus people who don't. For example, I would go into my GA and check out the affinity differences between my buyers, the one in orange, versus the all other users. And based on that, I would be able to decipher some information about my target audience. I would then have to go back to audience insight in Facebook, if I'm using Facebook as a channel. Or even before I decide if Facebook is a right channel, I might go back to my analytic again to understand what are the series of channel my customer will go through before they buy. They might went through direct 4 times before going onto social network, and then going back into my website again before going back into social network. So in that case, when I configure my campaign, I need to include social network definitely in part of my budget mix. And I will need to include search as well, since search is one of the crucial factors in deciding sales. But all this, again, is done precisely, accurately, confidently through data, not through intuition, not through guessing. Now, once I figure out what are the channels that I want to use, I will need to go back to each and every channel. And I need to then key in some information based on what I've gathered from analytics. For example, earlier on, I noticed a lot of these guys who are interested in buying are interested in news and politics. So I might key in newspaper, I might key in politics. And instead of US, I might enter in Malaysia. Now, automatically then Facebook tells me that, hey, the potential target audience is about 10 to 15 million that matches this particular profile. Now, I want to then validate if these people are the right people that I'm really looking for. I might look at this from the gender perspective. I might look at this from the relationship perspective, the education level perspective, the job title perspective. I might even look at this from the affinity perspective. What are the other pages that they like? For example, some of this like Mr. DIY, 20th Century Fox, and so forth, right? And based on all this, I can make a better, insightful deciphering whether these people are my target audience or not. After which, again, I might look into how competitive this audience are, meaning compared to every other users on Facebook, how much I need to increase my bid in order to get attention. For example, if I look at this bar here, it says that my audiences are 31 times more likely to click on an ad compared to the normal Facebook audience. That means the amount of bid I need to set in order to get my ad to be seen and clicked by this individual needs to be a whole lot higher. With this, I can actually create a campaign. But even before I can create a campaign, I have to save this audience first, right? And after I've saved this audience, I need to ensure if I have multiple different campaigns running at the same time, I don't end up competing against myself. For example, if I have one ad targeting 15 to 60-year-old male who are interested in news, another ad targeting 15 to 60-year-old male who are interested in automotive, how do I know that the same people in both groups do not overlap with each other? There aren't few people who both like news and automotive. To do that, again, I have to go back into Facebook and check through the audience overlap exercise. So I need to select my audiences. And use this neat little feature from Facebook to show that 96% of the guys who are interested in marketing happens to overlap with the general open segment. So if I have two campaigns, I should not use the marketing interest target whatsoever, because both ads would then overlap, driving internal competition. I would compete against my own self to drive the bid or the cost of my campaign higher. And all this is done even before setting up the campaign. So if you imagine this right now, for the common layman like you and me, when we are setting a campaign, all this exercise today, it's not accessible because the amount of complexity. That's why Facebook took a decision, Google AdWords Express made a decision to sacrifice effectiveness for the sake of simplicity. Now, how we are doing this on Peasy is that we believe you should have both. You should never need to sacrifice complexity, effectiveness for simplicity, nor you need to sacrifice simplicity for the sake of effectiveness.